Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. And let's see, it looks like I have 7 articles in this episode for you. Um, this is going to be a wild ride. It has to do with tax cuts, and it has to do with on with the House of Representatives and microchipping and all kinds of things here. So let's get started. Pundit.com, and it says, here we go. Republican leaders to oppose Trump's tax cuts. It says, you just knew this was coming. Republican leader Mitch McConnell warned today he will not pass Donald Trump's tax. Senator Majority Leader McConnell has a different plan. Bloomberg.com reported Donald Trump's race to enact the big tax cuts since the 1980s went under a caution flag Monday as Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell warned he considers current levels of U.S. debt dangerous and said he wants any tax overhaul to avoid adding to the deficit. The level of national debt is dangerous and unacceptable, McConnell said, adding he hopes lose sight of that when it acts. My preference on tax reform is that it be revenue neutral, he said. During a news conference, McConnell also poured cold water on the idea of a massive stimulus package, effectively laying out markers on taxes and spending that could cramp Trump's ambitions. For a responsible federal budget, and think tank has projected that Trump's plans would increase the debt by $5.3 trillion over a decade, with deficits already over $600 and rising on autopilot. The article I have is off of Liberty Writers News, and it says, just sacrifice something unbelievable for our country. This right here is exactly the kind of stuff the mainstream media loves to ignore. Donald Trump revealed today that since winning the office of president, he has sacrificed billions of dollars for his country. Trump told Chris Wallace that in the last week alone, he gave up over $1 billion in business deals from power players trying to buy in before he takes office. If I were really going to do new deals right now, I am turning down billions of dollars of deals, Trump told Wallace on Fox News Sunday when pressed about his array of business interests and potential conflicts. I turned down 7 deals with one big player, great player, last week because I thought it could be perceived as a conflict of interest. That right there is pretty admirable. Donald Trump, America's celebrity billionaire, cares so much about his country that he said to hell with the money to keep us safe. When asked how he felt about the amount he personally spent on the election, $60 million, he told Chris Wallace that the money he spent and the money he won't be making are well worth the chance to save America. The article I have is also off of Liberty Writers News, and it says, right after Trump threatened China policy, China went nuclear with this attack. Is really having a fit after Trump threatened to reconsider one China policy if they won't renegotiate some trade deals. This morning, China went nuclear with a barrage of attacks against Trump. According to the AP, one Chinese newspaper said Donald Trump is ignorant as a child for his comments. At the same time, breaking news reported that the Chinese government said they are very concerned about what Trump said and threatened to end all diplomatic ties with the U.S. if we end the one China policy. If you are unaware, the one China policy refers to a 1949 law saying the U.S. acknowledges Beijing as China's capital and essentially ignores Taiwan while still giving them weapons. Of course, in reality, Trump understands the importance of the one China policy. He also understands that China has been screwing us royally on trade and we need to leverage and renegotiate. Next one that I have for you is off of shtfplan.com. It is entitled, we get it to work for me here. Here we go. House passes bill to microchip citizens with mental disabilities and then out. This article was written by Whitney Webb and originally published at trueactivist.com. And editor's comment on here, it says, "Mark of the beast. We've been warned that it's coming, that while technology surrounds us and some have concerns about privacy, most shrug at the massive amounts of data they are collecting about our lives and the incredible level of control the system now has over each individual, clinging to the broadest base of good intentions that it could muster, caring for those with disabilities in decline with age. Its nose under the tent for a system that needs the ability to microchip dissenters and to force cooperation on the part of the general population. In effect, everyone is now under the thumb. Anyone could see, that doesn't, that, I don't know, they left some words out of this, doesn't go along with the mass conditioning, will be labeled mentally and branded with track and control chip. Game over. At the first sign of behavior or troubling social media profile or misunderstanding during an encounter, police and medical personnel, among others, will have the authority to declare someone mentally disabled or incapacitated or temporarily insane or unsound of mind or whatever label is handy just because they express discontent, anger, or outrage at the state of the world. Political affairs. Fake news journalists can be shut down and conspiracy-minded individuals controlled, and of course it will be abused. Against parents by CPS will be forged together with the creepy detail or the creepy total surveillance of the fusion centers, etc. Potentially a very nasty police state. And try again if it is slowed down or rejected, whether it takes the form of an implanted chip or tracking number that's tied to each person. They will stop at nothing short of mark in everyone with identity tied to bank accounts, etc. They will insist you be on the grid in every way. And with this bill, they just got one step closer to controlling the future. All this has been foretold, and yet it is beyond anything anyone could have imagined. Just happened. The House passed a bill allowing government to microchip citizens with mental disabilities. Although the bill only targets those with conditions such as Alzheimer's and autism, critics say the bill's passage will open a Pandora's box of invasive government surveillance. 6 years ago, NBC's Nightly News NBC's Nightly News boldly predicted that all Americans would be fitted with RFID microchips by the year 2017. Though at this time NBC's predictions seem far-fetched, the House has recently passed that would bring a microchip populace closer to reality before the year's end. Last Thursday, the House passed H.R. 4919, also known as Kevin and Avante's Law, which would allow the U.S. Attorney General to award grants to law enforcement for the creation and operation of locative tracking technology programs. Though the program's mission is to find individuals with forms of dementia or children with developmental disabilities who have wandered from safe environments, it provides no restriction on the tracking program's inclusion of other individuals. The bill would also require the Attorney General to work with the Secretary of Health and Human Services and unnamed health organizations to establish the best practices for the use of tracking devices. Those in support of the legislation maintain that such programs could prevent tragedies where those with mental or cognitive disabilities wandered into dangerous circumstances, yet others have called these good intentions a Trojan horse for the expansion of a North American police state, as the bill's language could be very broadly interpreted. Here, and here's how this reads. It says, while this initiative may have notable intentions, small and temporary programs in the name of safety and security often evolve into permanent and enlarged bureaucracies that infringe on the American people's freedoms. That is exactly what we have here. A safety problem exists for people with Alzheimer's, autism, and other mental health issues. So the fix, we are told, is to have the Department of Justice start a tracking program so we can use some device or method to track these individuals 24/7. Representative Louis Gohmert, Republican of Texas, said in a floor speech opposing the bill. Assessment is spot on, giving local police the authority to decide on who is microchipped and who is not based on their mental soundness is a recipe for disaster. Typically mentions those with Alzheimer's and autism. How long before these tracking programs are extended to those with ADHD and bipolar disorder, among other officially recognized disorders? Even the dislike of authority is considered a mental disorder known as oppositional defiant disorder. Also warrant microchipping in the future. Are expanded and checked. How long will it be before all Americans are told that mass microchipping is necessary so that law enforcement and the government can better protect them? Many Americans have been content to trade their liberties for increased security. In the post 9/11 world, particularly when the state uses these talking points, yet as Benjamin Franklin once said, those who surrender freedom for security will not have, nor do they deserve either one. Article I have is off of theconservativetribune.com, and it says, special guest for Trump's inauguration. Country music star Garth Brooks is reported in talks to perform at President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January the 20th, according to Rutgers. Garth has performed for 5 living presidents, Brooks' publicist Nancy Stelter said on Friday. That he has been asked to perform for President-elect Trump, he has not been able to commit yet. Brooks performed at President Barack Obama's inauguration in 2009, and when asked by TMZ about the possibility of performing for Trump at his inauguration, he said, "It's always about serving. It's what you do." The left has seized on the opportunity to claim that Trump has struggled to get whiny celebrities to perform at his inauguration, which, if true, might be a badge of honor, but Trump's team denied the suggestion that there have been any issues. We have world-class talent, world-class entertainers reaching out to us, offering their help, offering their services, so no struggle whatsoever, Boris Epstein, communications director for Trump's inaugural committee, told ABC News on Friday. The theme of the inauguration was announced by Trump's team on Friday to be Make America Great Again, the theme that Trump used during the campaign. In contrast to Obama, Trump will attend only 2 official inaugural balls, whereas our celebrity in 10. This is a workmanlike inaugural. It's not a coronation, Epstein said. And you've seen some inaugurals in the past that maybe did seem like a coronation. Again, it's every president's choice. The president wants to get to work. What a refreshing change. After 8 years of a celebrity president more concerned about his golf game and late night television shows than his job, this is nice to see. It's not surprising there would be some celebrities who would violently refuse to perform, but Epstein's comments aren't surprising either, as there are conservatives in Hollywood and of course Nashville as well as other places who may not agree with Trump politically, but who recognize the extraordinary opportunity and understand what tolerance really means. The next article I have is off of BizPack Review, and it says, DeploraBall, 24 hours. Ballroom refuses to host event, disputes proposal after libs complain, says the organizer. Still upset by Clinton's defeat. Let me back up on this a little bit. Crybaby Hillary Clinton shills are at it again. Still upset by Clinton's defeat, her supporters apparently pressured a Washington, D.C. area venue to cancel an inauguration party organized by Donald Trump's supporters. The event was meant to be a celebration of the president-elect's historic victory. Tickets for the DeploraBall sold out in 24 hours. The shindig was organized by a citizen grassroots movement called X, led by Jack, the Special Projects Director of Citizens for Trump. The DeploraBall was scheduled to take place on January the 19th at the Clarendon Ballroom in Arlington, Virginia. Reporter Dan Alemuth tweeted out details about the party. Clinton supporters immediately barraged the venue with complaints. Poor loser Clinton fans were upset that the venue was hosting an alt-right event. We are change, except that's not true. The inauguration party was open to all who wanted to celebrate Trump's victory. Here's the description. In celebration of this historic event, we will be hosting an inaugural ball for the Happy Warriors who, without book contract, advanced liberty across the country and the world via blogs, social media, art, music, video, and hard work. This is a party by the people for the people. The Clarendon Ballroom is now refusing to host the DeploraBall, claiming the party was news to us, except that the declaration appears to be untrue. Author Mike Cernovich tweeted out details of a proposed contract the Clarendon Ballroom had sent, including a price quote and a menu. Cernovich followed up with a statement saying the DeploraBall will look for bigger, better venue. Sadly, organizer Jack Prosbeck said harassment happens all the time to Trump supporters. Hillary voters never get platformed, Prosbeck told BizPac Review. There has been a concerted effort from businesses, governments, and social media companies discriminating against Trump supporters. This is like refusing to bake a cake for someone based on their personal beliefs. And the final article that I have for you is off the U.S. Herald, and it says, 95-year-old World War II veteran to Obama is blowing up the internet. I can't figure out what country you're the president of. Reads. As the nation, if not the commander-in-chief, observed the 75th anniversary of the Japanese raid on Pearl Harbor on December the 7th, it became obvious that the greatest generation will soon be no more. Fewer members of that extraordinary group of men who were born during World War I struggled through the Depression and came of age in planes over Germany and the Pacific, on the cliffs of Normandy, and along the Bataan Death March. Participated in the annual commemoration at the site of the attack that was answered that Churchill's prayers and thrust the U.S. into World War II. Them, Harold Estes, get the ads to stop popping up on me. One of them, Harold Estes, died at the age of 97, enlisted in 1934, serving 23 years before, during, and after the war. Master Chief Boatswain's mate, and is in what he called a rest home in Hawaii. Before he died, however, Estes put pen to paper and wrote to the new President Barack Obama in 2009 a letter from the heart and the gut, sparing the man he called young man hard truths he felt Obama needed to hear, that he felt entitled by virtue of his age and service to tell him. The letter was written just as Obama took off on his apology tour in the months after his inauguration, but as the president completes 8 years in office, it sounds tragically timely as Estes almost the direction Obama's years would take: disrespect for law enforcement and the military, obsession with race, and lack of love for America. Obama, the then 95-year-old veteran, began. One of the benefits of my age, perhaps the only one, is to speak my mind, even to the head man. And then he did just that. Angry and determined not to see my country die before I do, but you seem hell-bent that wish. I can't figure out what country you're the president of. Turned Obama's own words on him, quoting up to her ideals and schooling the new president on American History 101. He reminded Obama of the 11,000 farmers and shopkeepers who died for independence from the British, and the 500,000 men who died feel that no man should be a slave to another. The old sailor made it personal too. I hope you didn't mean the ideal 1,000 fathers, brothers, husbands, and a lot of fellas I knew personally died for in World War II. Nor did Estes mince words. I don't think you mean the ideal that says equality is better than discrimination. a whole lot of white people understood when they helped to get you elected. And then calling himself a very old geezer, Estes had some hard advice for the president, who was half his age. Shape up and start acting like an American. In 2009, Estes already had the measure of the man from the way he jumped at the chance to call Cambridge, Massachusetts police stupid and lectured Americans about not doing the same about Fort Hood shooter. Estes saved the best for last, noting that while Obama never served in the military and never had to defend with your life, you're the commander-in-chief now, son. Do your job. Years of service and your fearless honesty. Rest in peace, Master Chief Estes.